Hey everyone! Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be doing something completely different, something I've never done before here, and honestly, I'm pretty excited and also slightly nervous about it. So, quick little side note before we jump in. The other day I was scrolling through my channel and realized I've actually made quite a few videos by now. Time really flew. I didn't even notice how consistent I've been until I saw that I've been uploading almost every week for the past 6 months. That's wild, right? It's kind of surreal. So yeah, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who have been watching, liking, commenting, just being here. And it keeps me excited to keep creating and experimenting with new stuff. Okay, now let's talk about today's project. I decided to dive into something I've been curious about for ages but never really dared to try properly until now. Clay work! Now let's get this straight. I'm not a clay artist. Not even close. I'm basically the kind of person who sees something cute on Pinterest and immediately goes, "Oh, I could totally do that," even though I have zero experience and no idea what I'm doing. I just assume I'll figure it out as I go because, I don't know, I've got hands. That counts for something, right? I've seen so many cute clay creations online recently. Trinket dishes, mugs, plant pots, paint palettes, you name it. So I figured, why not give it a go? To be fair, I have taken a couple of short workshops before, like where you make your own mug or bowl. So I wasn't starting from absolutely zero. I've made a few mugs and bowls in the past. And when I was really little, I think around 8 years old or so, maybe even younger, I used to take these tiny ceramic classes. I remember it being really fun, but I stopped pretty quickly, not because I didn't enjoy it, just because life got busy and I didn't have the time. But even back then, I remember loving the feeling of shaping something with my hands and turning it into something cute and useful. It's always stuck with me, and I've always had this little voice in the back of my head saying, "Hey, you should get back into that someday." So today's the day, or well, the video. I ended up buying this DIY clay kit that came with all the tools, some air dry clay and all the basics. Then I also grabbed a silicone mat to keep my desk clean and a varnish from Montmartre that's supposed to give a glossy finish. It's a little tacky at first, but I've heard it works well. The project I chose to make is a clay paint palette. Now, this isn't the first time I've attempted one. I actually made one before, same idea, but I kind of messed it up. I didn't let it dry properly before applying the varnish, and the whole thing ended up cracking. Not the clay itself, but the varnish on top. Well, the clay too. I also added way too much, so it's got super weird and start peeling. I've still been using it here and there, but it's very broken and I'm honestly scared to clean it because every time I do, more of the varnish comes off. So I decided to try again, this time with a few improvements. I made this new palette a little smaller because the old one was way too chunky. Like, cute idea, but not super practical. For this one, I got inspired by some photos I saw on Pinterest of palettes shaped like fruits and leaves and stuff, so I went with a pomegranate shape. Well, kind of pomegranate meets fantasy leaf vibe. I love the idea, but I'll admit I'm not totally in love with how the wells for the paint turned out. Some of the lines came out too thick, others too sharp. I think it would looked a lot cuter if I'd kept everything round and soft and symmetrical, but hey, it is what it is. Once you start working with clay, it kind of has a mind of its own sometimes. What definitely helped through was adding color. When I first finished shaping it, I was like, I don't know about this. But after I painted, it actually started looking a lot better. So here's how the whole process went. I shaped the clay and carved out the paint wells, then let it dry completely. After that, I used sandpaper to smooth the surface. That part's tricky for me, like I'm not great at it and some little bumps still showed up, but I tried my best. For painting, I used the Artex acrylic markers, which I hadn't tried on clay before, but they work surprisingly well. I did have to press down on them a bit more than usual because the clay left some powdery residue that clogged the tips, but with a bit of patience, it worked. You just have to be careful not to go over the same area too many times or it leaves off. The colors turn out really vibrant, and since the markers have the brush tip shape, it made it easier to get into the edges and details. Once the palette was painted, I let it dry again and then went in with the varnish. Now, varnishing, that's a whole journey in itself. This was honestly the hardest part for me. I've never done it solo before. Like in the workshops I've taken, the instructors always handle that part. So I was kind of guessing the whole time. Too much varnish and you get bubbles, too little and it doesn't cover, and sometimes it just disappears. Like I swear I covered a spot and 5 minutes later it's bare again. It's like the varnish evaporated. I don't know, clay magic. But I got there in the end. It dried glossy and smooth and thankfully not sticky, so I was really happy with the result. Fingers crossed it holds up better than my last one. And then, since I already had everything out, I also painted 2 other little clay pieces I made ages ago. One is this little chicken-shaped tray where you can place an egg while you're cooking, like before cracking it into the pan. I saw the idea on Pinterest and I thought it was adorable. You could also use it to serve a little boiled egg or something fancy. Either way, I wanted one for my kitchen. And the other piece is this little alien I made for my boyfriend. It's super tiny and was honestly kind of a nightmare to shape because it was so small, but I love how it turned out. I used the markers to paint that too, and for the tiny details, I switched to a brush to spread the ink more precisely. It's super tiny and was honestly kind of a nightmare to shape because it was so small, but I love how it turned out. I used the markers to paint that too. It worked really well, and the alien turned out so cute. So yeah, that's everything I work on in this video. I feel like I'm just one of those people who loves all kind of arts and crafts. I draw, I paint, I love clay, I crochet, I knit. If it involves using your hands and making something cute, I'm probably into it. Honestly, I could see myself trying woodworking, weaving, candle making. Like, I genuinely believe I could carve a spoon from a wood with zero experience. It's a problem. Anyway, if you enjoy this kind of content where I experiment with different creative hobbies, definitely let me know in the comments. I've been thinking about trying to make tough rugs too, which is totally random but seems so fun. Or maybe more crochet projects or sculpting clay pots shaped like takeout boxes. Yes, I saw that on Pinterest and now I can't stop thinking about it. They are so cute for my plants. Of course, drawing and painting will always be my main thing, but it's fun to step outside of that sometimes and just create something totally different. This video took a while to make. I actually made the palette weeks ago, then only got around to painting and varnishing it recently, but I had a blast and I hope you enjoyed watching it too. Let me know if you've ever tried working with clay or if you're into craft like this, and if you have any ideas for what I should try next, drop them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!